I'm actually excited to be laid off. A few months ago, I received notice of my layoff. Since then, I've gone on several job interviews, but nothing has come through. My official last day is December 31st. After that, I'll receive about 6 months of severance, along with a payout for my unused vacation, around 8 weeks worth. In total, I'll have about 8 months of my salary, plus a little extra from unemployment. With all these factors, I estimate I can manage for about a year without dipping into my savings, which could last me another year if needed. I've even moved to a smaller apartment that's $600 cheaper than my old place. Being single, childless, and debt-free means I don't have major obligations weighing me down. My friends, family, and even coworkers seem anxious on my behalf, urging me to find another job as soon as possible. But honestly, I don't want to. I'm actually excited about the chance to take a break without worrying about finances. I feel like I may never have an opportunity like this again, a chance to step away from work for over 6 months and just breathe. This past year has been incredibly tough for many reasons, and I want to use this time to reset. Just to clarify, I will keep looking for a job. I never plan to stop completely. However, my loved ones are pushing me to take any job available, even if it means a demotion or switching industries. Right now, I don't feel desperate enough to do that. I'll continue my job search, but only for positions that truly interest me. If nothing comes up in the next 6 months, then yes, I'll consider exploring lower positions or other fields. Update. My girlfriend came home in just her underwear. It's been over a week now, and I've been trying to understand what really happened. My girlfriend has been in a similar mood, but she hasn't said much. I see her watching videos on her phone, laughing often. She hasn't mentioned my earlier post, so I'm certain she hasn't seen it. Overall, we haven't communicated much. She seems fine. But I listened to your advice about the possibility of something happening to her. I told her I needed to talk, and if something had occurred, she could tell me. I needed to know because I can't function otherwise. She repeated that her friend had just thrown up on her. I pressed for details, asking where her dress was, but she said she didn't remember. I suggested that if she couldn't recall, it might mean something was wrong, and we should go to the hospital. She reacted strongly, and I tried to remain calm. That night, I went through her phone while she slept. I didn't find anything alarming, but I did see a text from a coworker about the Christmas party, so I called her yesterday to ask about it. She sounded surprised and confused. I asked what happened, keeping my side vague. She told me the party was just a dinner that ended at 11. But what happened during those missing hours? I tried not to show my surprise. I asked if she left with anyone, and she said no. When I inquired about what she was wearing, she mentioned she didn't remember and seemed suspicious. I told her she lost her wallet, and we were just trying to figure it out. From what I can piece together, she left much earlier than she claimed, was unaccounted for during those hours, and left without a friend who could have caused the mess. I've been watching her closely, trying not to reveal what I know. I said I would just walk away, but I don't think I can find peace without knowing the truth. I was used for fetish content without my knowledge. So this happened a few years ago when I was just 18. My mom came into my room one day, excitedly telling me about a post on Facebook. It was about a heartfelt oncology solidarity photo shoot, and they were looking for models. They even offered $500 for it. I thought, why not? I'd be donating my hair, doing something positive, and getting paid for it. I messaged them on WhatsApp and spoke to a woman from Spain who was part of the program. After an interview and sending some photos, they mentioned they'd also shave my brows for an extra $200. I agreed. $700 is still $700. They accepted me, set the date, and told me to wear something sleeveless and tight. I was a bit unsure, but went along with it. The day arrived, and my mom and I went to a small salon with a cameraman who seemed inexperienced. They interviewed me again, this time on camera. When they asked why I wanted to participate, I spoke about showing solidarity for those suffering from cancer. The lady interrupted me, telling me to say I was just feeling experimental and brave. Then they made me say the name of a website, something like, "Come and watch me shave my head on this site." Suddenly, they painted my lips with bright red lipstick and started the photo shoot. They had me pose, act like I was cutting my hair, and then they cut it into a strange angled bob. I thought I was donating my hair, but I didn't question it then. After that, they shaved my head and brows and made me pose outside, in public. Once we returned to the salon, I got praised and paid. They promised to send me the edited pictures. But weeks passed, and I didn't hear anything. I eventually forgot about it until a few months later when I remembered the website and decided to check it out. What I found shocked me. It was a pay-to-view site. There was a preview of me, but they had changed my name and added a suggestive description. The pictures looked awful, and I couldn't access the rest without paying. I convinced myself it wasn't for fetish content and tried to move on. Fast forward to today. I randomly remembered the website and searched for it again, just for fun. I discovered they had a YouTube channel, and my video was their most viewed one. The comments were cruel, and the description was degrading. The footage was unedited and painful to look at. I honestly don't know whether to cry or laugh. Right now, I'm just shaking from the adrenaline. What a mess.
I started a rumor as a child that followed a woman into adulthood. I'm 31 now, but I grew up in a small rural town in Wyoming where gossip and beer fueled the community. Everyone knew everyone's business, and in middle school, the atmosphere turned nasty. As an angsty theater kid, I became a target for two sisters who found joy in making me the butt of their jokes. They commented on my hair, my family struggles, and my absent father. I often confided in my sister, Ellie, who was popular and pretty. She had little empathy and told me to ignore them, insisting they were beneath us. One day, as we walked into school, we ran into the sisters. They hurled a specific insult at me, and Ellie shot back with a cruel remark. Afterward, she suggested that the best revenge is the kind they never see coming. We decided to spread a lie about their mother, claiming that the younger sister's father was the mailman. We casually mentioned this to others, thinking it was harmless fun. But months later, while hanging out with a friend, I learned that the rumor had spiraled out of control. The friend was the much older brother of those sisters. He shared how, years ago, his sister's paternity had become a scandal, and it turned out the town mailman was involved. What started as a joke had transformed into a painful family issue. The rumors spread, leading to whispers about affairs and paternity tests. To this day, Ellie and I have never confessed our role in it. Nearly 20 years later, I still feel the weight of what we did, knowing we almost tore a family apart.
Money has officially changed my dog. My beagle grew up in a humble home. She never experienced the luxuries that many dogs take for granted. Her idea of fun was chewing on my shoes or any random object she could find on the floor. Her meals consisted of basic dog food bought in bulk. As a broke student, all I could offer her was my love and care. When I returned to school, there was no one to look after her. My dad and I both worked late, so I had no choice but to let my sister adopt her. Little did I know this was the start of her social climber era. At my sister's house, she has her own cozy bed, eats premium food, enjoys mountains of plush toys, and gets groomed monthly. She even sleeps in a room with air conditioning. But what's infuriating is that when I visit, she barks at me like I'm a stranger. I know I'm not wealthy, but I wish she wouldn't be ashamed of me. I want to remind her of her roots before she starts acting like she's above me. I visited her today and brought some fried chicken leftovers. She just sniffed it, walked away, and rolled her eyes at me. Excuse me? She used to love rice with noodle soup broth. My sister even changed her name from Bella to Ruby. It's such a dramatic name. You'd think she's a character from a telenovela seeking revenge for being abandoned. I didn't expect that a dog's attitude could change with a taste of wealth. Money really does change everyone, even dogs. She's become so snobbish and elitist, you'd think she comes from old money. But honestly, it makes me happy to see her spoiled and living comfortably. It's an achievement to see my fur baby in a good situation. Still, part of me feels like she's disowned me, trading our past for a lavish life. Enjoy my sister's wealth while you can, because when school break starts, it'll be Tibble and rice for you again.
I'm a developer for a major food delivery app. The priority fee and driver benefit fee go entirely to the company. The drivers see none of it. I'm sharing this from a library Wi-Fi on a burner laptop because I'm bound by a strict NDA. But honestly, I don't care anymore. I put in my 2 weeks yesterday, and I hope they come after me. For the past 8 months, I've watched the code roll out, and I can't sleep knowing I helped build this system. You might think the algorithms are rigged against you, but the reality is much more disheartening. I'm a back-end engineer, and in our weekly meetings, product managers discuss how to squeeze every last bit of profit from what they call human assets. They talk about drivers as if they are just resources, not real people trying to make ends meet. The priority delivery is a complete illusion. When you pay that extra fee, it merely changes a flag in the order system. But it doesn't actually speed anything up. We even ran a test where we didn't speed up the priority orders. We just delayed the non-priority ones to make the priority feel faster. Management loved it, and we made millions by making the standard service worse. What truly makes me sick, and the main reason I'm leaving, is the desperation score. This hidden metric tracks how desperate drivers are for cash based on their acceptance behavior. If a driver logs on at night and accepts every low-paying order, the system tags them as high desperation. Once tagged, they stop seeing higher-paying orders. The logic is simple. Why pay a driver $15 when they'll accept $6? Then there's the benefit fee. You've probably noticed that $1.50 fee on your bill after recent labor laws. It's designed to make you feel like you're supporting workers. But that money goes straight to a corporate fund used to lobby against driver unions. You're literally paying for lawyers fighting to keep your delivery person struggling. As for tips, we've essentially turned it into a new form of theft. We don't take them outright anymore, but we use predictive modeling to lower base pay. If the system predicts you'll tip well, it offers the driver a low base pay. If you tip nothing, they get a higher base pay just to move the food. Your generosity ends up subsidizing us instead of rewarding the driver. I'm frustrated and I'm angry. I just needed to get this off my chest before it all disappears.
Female colleague let me use her Reddit account to do posts online. And I finally get why women are so cautious when it comes to dating men. Long story short, I was chatting with a female colleague about dating apps and the challenges of modern dating. We discussed how women seem to have so many options, but she pointed out that this abundance can make it hard for men to connect, especially if they don't meet certain expectations. She opened up about her wariness when it comes to dating and why she feels cautious around men who pursue her romantically. Then, she let me use her Reddit account, which she usually uses for makeup tutorials. She encouraged me to turn on the chats and see what happened. I was shocked by the flood of messages she received. She posted in spaces focused on fashion and beauty, so I expected some attention, but not like this. Her inbox was overflowing, with over 500 messages. There were different types of people reaching out. Some came with genuine intentions, offering fashion advice based on her pictures, but quickly shifted to asking if she was dating. Others simply asked if they could chat. Then there were those who showered her with compliments, saying things like, "You look beautiful," or "Wow, you're so hot." And then there were the more explicit messages. Some men were blunt, saying things like, "You're sexy, let's hook up," or even sending unsolicited pictures. This experience really changed my perspective on dating. I was taken aback by how many men presented themselves as nice guys, only to quickly shift their intentions to something more personal. It's unsettling to see how quickly some of these guys wanted to exchange details or meet up, often without even sharing a photo. I've learned a lot from this, and while it will take time to process, It's opened my eyes to the realities many women face. I left my friend's baby welcoming party because she used my baby name. This is complicated, so I'm sharing this anonymously. I'm 29 and have been inseparable from my friends, P and V, since 9th grade. V has been married for 4 years, P for 2, and I just celebrated my first anniversary with my husband. Right now, I'm 4 months pregnant. P gave birth 2 weeks ago, and she and her husband decided to host a baby welcoming and naming ceremony. V and I were thrilled and brought gifts for the occasion. P's son is adorable, and I was relieved to see her doing well after a difficult birth. But when the naming ceremony began, everything changed. When P revealed her son's name, Yuan, my heart sank. Even V looked taken aback. I've always loved Chinese culture, having lived in China from ages 7 to 10. And I've dreamed of naming my son Yuan for as long as I can remember. The name has always felt like destiny to me, and P and V knew this. I felt utterly heartbroken. V tried to comfort me, but I barely heard her. P approached us, smiling as if she hadn't just taken something precious from me. She said, "Hey, I know you must think I'm a bad friend, but you have to understand. Ever since you told me about that name, I fell in love with it. I couldn't let the chance slip away since you don't have a child yet. Plus, my husband is Vietnamese, so it fits our culture." I stared at her in disbelief. I finally managed to say, "You knew how much I love that name. Why would you do this to me?" Her response shocked me. She said I had always been unserious about having children, and since she got pregnant first, she deserved the name more. I couldn't comprehend that my best friend of 10 years would say something like that. She added, "You can name your son that, but people will think you're copying me. It'll reflect poorly on both our families." In that moment, I told her we wouldn't be friends anymore and walked out. I went home and cried. I've always been serious about motherhood, even writing letters to my future children. Hearing her words shattered me. My husband was equally upset. We had even started preparing a nursery for Yuan, a fact P was aware of. Afterward, P called me multiple times, and I didn't answer. She sent texts, calling me hurtful names for ruining her son's party. I could feel the eyes of others on us during our argument, but I never intended to ruin anything. According to her and her mother, I was the one who spoiled the celebration. I feel so hurt. She's one of my oldest friends, and this is how she treats me? No matter what happens, I won't change my son's name. That's for sure. I told my little brother I don't remember our childhood, and I hate myself for it. I'm 31, and my brother is 24. Yesterday, he called me out of the blue, after years of silence. Not from a fight, just life and distance. He sounded nervous, but hopeful, sharing that he had been going through old things at our mom's place. He found a shoebox filled with random items, a report card, a broken Game Boy, and a photo of us on the couch, both wearing blank expressions. Then he asked me, very quietly, "Do you remember when Mom used to make us sit in the hallway when she was mad?" My stomach dropped because yes, I remember it like it's branded on me. I recall the carpet pattern, the smell of laundry soap, and counting the cracks in the wall to keep from crying. If I cried, it only got worse. He brought up a specific night from our childhood when he got sick and felt like no one noticed for hours. He wondered if he imagined it or if it actually happened. I heard my own heartbeat, and instead of being honest, I told him, "I don't really remember that, sorry." He fell silent, then said, "Okay, maybe I'm mixing it up," trying not to be a burden. I kept going, saying we had a normal childhood, that we were fine, that Mom was just stressed. It felt like I was reciting a script I've used my whole adult life. The moment I hung up, I started shaking. I realized I had done the very thing that hurt me. I made him question his own reality. I don't even know why I did it. Part of me wants to protect our parents because they're older now, and I'm tired. Another part is terrified that if I admit I remember, I'll have to feel it all again and support him when he falls apart. I'm not sure I can do that. But he deserved better than my lies to keep things peaceful. I keep replaying his little okay. And it feels like I betrayed him twice. Once back then by being helpless, and now by choosing comfort over truth. I just needed to share this because I can't stomach myself today.
The ER sent my 11-year-old home with signs of sepsis. 2 days later, he was in septic shock. Now, the hospital is facing federal violations. On December 23, 2023, my son Nicholas came to the Methodist Southlake ER. He had a fever, was vomiting, and felt dizzy. His heart rate was racing at 130, and his blood pressure was alarmingly low. Despite these clear signs, they sent us home with a diagnosis of a viral infection. They gave him just a small amount of fluids, stopped the IV too early, didn't draw blood cultures, and failed to give him antibiotics. The nurse didn't document that he couldn't urinate, even though the doctor had ordered it. They assured us everything was normal, but it wasn't. By Christmas morning, Nicholas was so weak he could barely move. We rushed him to Cook Children's, where he was immediately diagnosed with septic shock from Group A strep. He was admitted to the PICU, where he underwent multiple surgeries and needed medications to stabilize his blood pressure. He spent over a month in the hospital, and now at 12, he faces lasting joint damage, kidney issues, and heart complications. Federal investigators later cited Methodist Southlake for failing to provide proper medical care and for falsifying records. To all parents, if your child shows signs like fever, a high heart rate, low blood pressure, and abnormal lab results, insist on a thorough sepsis workup before leaving the hospital. Don't trust that everything is okay just because a doctor says so.
I paralyzed a girl in a car accident 23 years ago. She later took her own life. I've moved on, but I still cannot forgive myself. In 2002, I was driving with friends late at night when I hit a woman who had drunkenly wandered into the street. The moments leading up to the accident and its aftermath are nearly a blur. I don't remember seeing her, the impact, or even getting out of my car. But I vividly recall coming upon her lying in the street, face down and screaming. Her friends surrounded her, while my friends rushed out of the car, but the world felt eerily silent except for her cries. I walked to where she could see me, and one of her friends must have said something like, "He was driving." Her wailing turned into frantic words directed at me. "You paralyzed me. My life is ruined. I can't move anything." Her voice was muffled against the pavement. EMTs arrived and took her away in an ambulance. The police arrested me, suspecting I was drunk driving, but I was ultimately released and cleared of any wrongdoing. To make matters worse, I was harassed by her family and friends for over a year because they believed I had been intoxicated. I sought therapy and worked on forgiving myself, managing to find some semblance of peace for a few years. I even tried to reach out to her family to apologize and check on her condition, only to learn she had taken her own life just shy of 2 years after the accident. At that moment, all the progress I had made unraveled. I was right back on that sidewalk, hearing her screams and knowing that I had, in a way, taken her life. Since then, I've carried that pain and guilt with me everywhere. I live a normal life, got married, had kids, go to work, walk the dogs. But in my quiet moments, her words echo in my mind, gnawing at me. My family knows what happened. My wife knows, and a few remaining friends from those days are aware too. But I never talk about it because the guilt is too heavy. Just typing this out is probably the most I've shared about the accident in 20 years. I can't shake the thought that anyone who knows my secret sees me as a murderer.
I used an exploit to steal from my first job and was never caught. I used to work at a store that was quite popular in my rural area. You could find this store everywhere, sometimes with 2 locations just a mile apart. In my town, there were 5 locations within a 2-mile range. I worked the register most nights, while the lead did whatever it was she did. One day during a sale, I accidentally hit the wrong button. Instead of applying the 25% discount, it took off 90%. The lead came over to help me fix the transaction, but I remembered the code, wrote it down, and tucked it into my jacket pocket. I forgot about it until a month later when I found that paper again. That night at work, I tried the code, and to my surprise, it still worked. After thinking about it for a while, I decided to go with a friend to another store and see if we could get an employee to use the code. We picked out a few items. And when we checked out, I mentioned I had a code. The cashier hesitated, but when I said I worked at the store closer to town, she typed it in without question. It worked. For the next week, I waited for someone to say something, but nothing happened. I thought for sure that cashier would mention it, but she didn't. A couple of weeks later, I returned and did the same thing, this time with more items. I felt a rush of excitement as I watched her accept the code again. I started to relax, thinking no one would ever find out. I began loading up my cart with food, clothes, and cleaning supplies. If I saw that same cashier, I would take advantage of it because I knew she wouldn't say a word. My mother was the only one who seemed suspicious. For an entire year, I'm pretty sure we got $500 or $600 worth of free stuff. But eventually, the code stopped working. I guess they discovered the error and removed it. By then, I had already quit my job and was in the process of moving, so I wasn't worried about getting caught. At first, I felt guilty about it, but now that I'm older, I was just 18 or 19 back then, I don't feel bad at all. This company has been caught doing so many illegal things and not paying employees correctly that I've lost all sympathy. I won't even shop at their stores, even if there's one on every corner.